Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. It is time for Grand Finals of Squid Junction number 42 from Dapple Productions. My name's Riley, I'm here with Weef, and we are here for Nightmare versus Decay.
Decay, of course, being kind of the underdog here against Nightmare, the absolute beast of a team. But Nightmare has really, or not Nightmare, Decay has really surprised us, doing incredibly well against some incredibly powerful pickups and incredibly powerful teams. They did also, notably, face Nightmare in Winners Finals, so this is a rematch here. Nightmare won 3-0. However, it was a some very close games in there. Decay did an absolutely great job, and I'm excited to see after, Decay has fought their way out of loser's bracket again, to see how they perform here.
Definitely. We're going to be starting with Flounder Heights Splat Zones. Now, this map made the observation previously that it's kind of just, where buckets go to die, so to speak.
Bucket's gonna live.
Exactly. Yeah. Henceforth, we have the double bucket here, except it's Joe on the V-try, rather than the Tri-Vo, which, okay. Ever since the Inkjet buff, V-try stocks have been going up a little bit, but it's still not something you really see that much. You generally see the Tri-Vo variant. Joe does kind of force their way in, but they will get punished for it. And that is 2 down on the side of Nightmare, and that's going to be first cap going to Decay, although it might not be that very long-lasting because of the tri-strikes, but they weren't really able to accomplish much with it. But Joe, coming in from behind, able to bring down 2.
People praise this map for the flank routes, and that's why you can pull off some really nice flanks here. And of course, though, it's Flounder zones. If half of the game isn't spent with these zones stalled and no timers ticking at all, is it even a Flounder zones game? Though Nightmare is taking it back here, they do get a brief control. It's starting to slip away, it looks like, ever so slowly as Decay is responding back in, but they do have the tri-strikes. They are going to be able to hold out a little bit further here. Though Junkie, although just flanking around, drawing a ton of aggro and being sneaky, is going to have some plans to change that, but they are leaving Johan over there on the zone in a 1v however many player situation.
Kind of unfortunate that they got caught in the ink rail there, but yeah, it just kind of happens. Pelu here on the crab, able to bring down the wiper, and that's also the rush going down yet again, I believe. It's just the tri-strikes left in terms of entry tools for Decay here. Nightmare just slowly growing their lead here. Tri-strikes are getting popped with Pelu here forcibly backing up, trying to stay alive with 1 going down on the side of Decay here. The Rain trying to make something happen. Joe getting a nice pick over the wall. And the Ultra Stamp goes down as well. It's just Junkie left on the brush, but they do have the Zipcaster. This could be useful for a flank or something, but I don't know. Decay's got to get more than one thing on the board as soon as possible, especially considering that Nightmare now has 2 GG specials to kind of diminish anything that Decay could bring out. They do neutralize zone for a little bit, but they do rush in. They're able to stop something from it. Chris coming in, trying to make some sort of hero play. That's 2 down on the side of Decay. Nightmare just not letting up. That is 1 down. They did cap one of the zones. Chris holding on for dear life. They will go down. The jump goes down as well, and that is game 1 in favor of Nightmare.
Yeah, when you're playing against a team as powerful as Nightmare, it's just so difficult to get back into the zones and get them capped if you're on defense. And so just Nightmare did a fantastic job of pushing forward and just not relinquishing any control whatsoever as they went through that game. But we are going to be returning to TC Inkblot, which is, I think, one of the maps that they played against Nightmare earlier, and Nightmare did take it, but Decay, I think, had a pretty good showing there near the end, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it seemed they got it down to 17, whereas Nightmare got it down to 12, and it seemed like they were going to take lead, but it just slipped away. So I'm curious to see how they will change up here, because I feel like they kind of have an idea of what to expect from each other, so they'll probably change comps accordingly. I'm not too sure. Nightmare did run double machine, though, the first time, so make of that what you'd like.
Yeah, I also, I don't know. It's an interesting one for sure. We're gonna see what they've learned if they, they were able to make that breakaway push, and if they can kind of figure out what got them there and how to respond and how to play against this team. They could definitely take this back, I feel. It's gonna be hard for them, of course. Like I said, it's no underplaying how really good Nightmare is right now. But it's been really close so far. Decay is doing a decent job at keeping them at bay. Of course, that first game was just a knockout, but they had a pretty good showing before that snowball really started going. And so, if they've learned, they can definitely take this back. I still believe in them.
Definitely me too. They've definitely proven their worth thus far. But both teams have readied up, so we'll be moving in here momentarily. Let's see if Nightmare chooses to go back to the double machine comp. If Johan decides to go some different flavor of backline weapon, just anything else in general. Decay, we've got the E-Leader and the everything else we've come to expect. We've got the machine and the 2 splashes from Nightmare, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's a complete mirror match of what we saw earlier, to my understanding. Though this time, they might have learned, like, okay, my opening was really, really bad last time, so this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. And it looks like the brush and the wiper are going to be sticking together a little bit more than they did last time. Splash is going to be picking out, and that's 3 down on the side of Nightmare from Decay, giving themselves a really nice early advantage. Miner, though, is still on the field, is going to be still providing pressure, and not going to let them get this first checkpoint for free. Getting 1 pick before going down. Decay is 2 down right now. They don't quite get this first checkpoint.
That was kind of insane from Miner there. They got pick on the right side, but no one bothered to call it out on the Decay. They were too focused on pushing, so I'm not too sure what's going on. So, yeah, that's a good first push from Decay, but Nightmare able to answer it just as quickly. They're 2 down, but still, there's no one up for Decay to really contest it. Joe is on the tower. They are moving ahead here, but Chris is going down. Kaito and Junkie trying to make something happen. Kaito trying to chip damage their way forward. Johan, under a lot of pressure, can't really get comfortable here. Still 2 down, but they're pushing, and they're making their way towards that checkpoint.
They're going to be doing anything they can, just put pressure on the tower, and they do get a nice pick. Crab's still in their bunker, or in their path, which is not a good thing whatsoever. Still there, getting pushed out. But Decay kind of did buy themselves a little bit of time. It wasn't nearly as bad as that last game where they got pushed down really, really far. And so they still have time, they can still come back, and they have plenty of specials and plenty of resources to make it happen.
Almost certainly. Nightmare does burn strikes really kind of early there, but still. And it's just Junkie left for Decay, and in fact that's a wipe. I believe this is Joe here, pushing all the way up into the bats yet again, with Storm taking up the tower on the back foot here. Chris under a lot of pressure in the top left. The Crab comes out. The Booyah from Miner as well. And the one from Joe as well. Junkie goes down. Kaito trying to chip damage Pelu from the attic area. Nightmare's going to be extending their lead almost certainly here. The tri-strikes come through, able to maybe stop tower for just a little bit. Junkie goes down. Neo Splash pushed up. It's just 2 down for Nightmare, but still, that doesn't really mean much when pretty much all of Nightmare's best pushes have been while they're 2 down. That's a wipeout now. Decay's got to take some mid and get some pressure exerted forward as fast as possible.
Yeah, Joe gets picked off on the right by Junkie, who is going to move forward and just apply pressure. They need to take mid, but they also need to take, but they can't the plat and all the areas in front of the tower. But they can't be too hasty about it lest they get picked off. Unfortunately, Decay is 2 down right now. They are touching the second checkpoint, but it's only Johan left who is going to be forced to back out under threat of death. And that's going to be that second checkpoint still, or that first checkpoint even, still eluding them, not able to really penetrate Nightmare's defenses at all.
Yes, Kaito getting a nice pick on the machine now. It's a 2v2 in favor of, well, I mean, as good of a 2v2 as you can have. But yes, Decay does have the man advantage now. 2 of the members are respawning. Joe going off for a flank here. I don't think anyone is noticing it. They're going all the way up onto the plat now. They're trying to, I guess, build Booyah or take as wide of a flank as possible here. They are at the checkpoint. Chris sees it. Joe is able to stop it, and in fact, that's a wipeout for Decay yet again. Just a little over a minute left in this game, and they're just not able to shut down Nightmare's flanks.
Yeah, and Joe wasted no time in getting set up in bats. Going to be defending pretty well there. Going to get picked off by the brush, but they still bought a ton of space. Nightmare is 2 down. This might not turn into one of their juggernauts of pushes, especially now that they are 3 down. It's only that Splash Nouveau. But it's still just Decay has it's felt incredibly slippery for them. They haven't been able to get a hold, and they haven't been able to get that firm foothold in that they need for a push, which has just been so unfortunate for them. Though we did see them come a last minute comeback in the last game that we saw, the last DC Inkblot game. And so with that fire lit under them, we could definitely see them push something out. They finally breached this first checkpoint. 2 down on the side of Nightmare still, and the brush is running around. Keto gets picked off. I think Chrissy on that spot gets picked off as well. And so it's just Junkie over here. 10 seconds left on the clock. Not looking good. I don't think they're going to be able to take it back, but miracles do happen sometimes. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, and it looks like Nightmare is going to take game 2.
That was really kind of unfortunate. Decay seemed to have something going there at the end, but I just don't think they were able to get any picks out of it, and that just kind of let Nightmare respond much more effectively. Nightmare took that TC Inkblot game a whole lot more convincingly that time around, so now Nightmare is fully in advantage here. They just have to win one more game in order to turn it around. We are moving on to Rainmaker Scorch, though. Now, Decay did play this earlier, I believe, against Right Arrow, and they did win this one, so... Or no, they didn't win this one, so I don't know, Chief.
Yeah, in theory, their comp is pretty well suited to Rainmaker. They have some pretty raw aggression there that they can just use to take advantage, to make, advantages and make some opportunities for them. But it's just been seeing, against Nightmare specifically, they just been having trouble following up because they never win team fights decisively. There's always a few stragglers. There's always some questions still left unanswered for them that just are preventing them from moving forward in the way that we know that they want to.
Most definitely here. At this point, I just kind of think Decay is kind of not really operating that well under pressure, which is kind of unfortunate because that was what was getting them this far before. Nightmare, I think, is just getting really comfy at this point, but I don't know. Because, Decay has just been, they had a lot of really good defensive plays throughout this tournament, and it's they aren't getting KO'd for the most part. They are still showing that good defense. I think they're just kind of hesitant to really work, on their offensive side, and that's kind of hampering their progress here, which is really kind of unfortunate. We'll have to see if any real changes are made in this game here. I mean, Rainmaker, you have to really kind of be offensive in order to, reap the benefits, so that will probably kind of force a more offensive playstyle from them, but it's kind of hard to say. We'll just have to see here. Both teams still kind of are waiting to ready up. As far as Nightmare goes, I'm not really sure if they'll stick with the machine. They might go back to a splash of some kind. I'm not too sure.
It really is whatever they feel like playing at a certain moment. They kind of probably play a lot of different things and make it work against Decay. But Decay is still going to be sticking with the things that we've been seeing all night. We're still going to see the Wiper. We're still going to see the Brush. We're going to see them pair up and just try to take as good as fights as they can. And I'm not sure what Johan is going to run, but I'm sure whatever it is, it's going to be interesting. We're going to go right into it here very, very shortly.
Yes, indeed. Wouldn't really be surprised if they stuck with the Heavy or the C-Jet over the... because Heavy is kind of a faster backline, and C-Jet has missed, which is super good on Rainmaker, and indeed, they brought back the C-Jet in conjunction with everything else. And we got the double V-Splash with the Storm T-Tech 52. Yes.
Yeah, certainly iconic here. C-Jet coming back out just because it's probably just a more mobile, more paint. a lot of different advantage that they have, and they just have to play right now what they're most comfortable with. And I feel like we've seen the Siege a bit more than anything else in this tournament so far from them. Unfortunately, though, they are going to go 2 down instantly. Keto is going to get a nice pick on Storm, though. However, gonna kind of still be getting things on the right, kind of taking things by storm over here, no pun intended. Buying an advantage and getting themselves pushed up all the way to the checkpoint. Now all they have to do is start getting themselves in a position where they can, you know, really continue this. They take the lead, though it's not a super necessarily one to take, but they do break that checkpoint, and breaking this checkpoint early is pretty huge.
Most definitely, especially with 2 down on Nightmare. Kaito, whatever, pushing ahead, trying to make something happen. They push it all the way down to 38. Now, of course, the obvious, everyone loves Snake, so there's no safe lead in Rainmaker. Obviously, Nightmare can come back from this, but still, it's kind of jarring to be put on the back foot this early.
Yeah, especially with, you know, like a push to 38. It's not too difficult to regain back on this map, but getting past that checkpoint is no easy feat, and Decay has been pretty decent on the defense so far. Hasn't been doing too terribly on that front, and so now that they've shown their offensive side, they might just be able to kind of sit back a little bit and be a little bit more comfortable and start taking like things a little bit more safely. It's Nightmare is gonna get a push going started here, gonna be pushing up, Storm popping the whale, things going, and they do get picks. Crab pincering them from the left. Looks like the checkpoint might go down here, especially with only really Junkie to defend it. They do get the pick, and it's only the splash left on the field. Pelu there gonna be forced to back up into mid, or at least Shark around this checkpoint here. But really good defense from Decay.
Again, this is what kind of got them to this point, their strong defense, but that's 2 down. It's just the 2 skirmishers left alive. Make that only Kaito left alive. The Crab comes through there. Oh, but he was able to stop it. Okay, cool. Now Decay has the man advantage yet again, but Nightmare is providing jumps. That's 2 down still, but they're not giving up this position. They really want to keep this going.
And, I mean, I certainly would want to, too. This is tournament point, after all. If they take this home, they don't have to play anymore. They can just go straight to bed, knowing that they've won Squid Junction. But it looks like Decay's not going to give them that easy win. Already taking mid back, already taking control, getting picks left and right, 2 down on the side of Nightmare. Looks like they might be buying themselves an opportunity to push again. There's 3 down. It's only the Machine, who does notably have the Booyah left alive, but Decay has some specials of their own that they're going to use to kind of force this choke point a little bit more. They do get the pick right on Joe, right before he almost gets the Rainmaker. They're not able to advance their score anymore, and they do get wiped out, but that just is, once again, proving that Rainmaker is just apparently their mode in this matchup.
Most definitely. That was very well coordinated for Decay, especially just getting all the clutch picks there to keep the push going. But at the same time, things are looking pretty good for Nightmare right now, too, because they've got the Booyah, they've got the Crab on the left side, Kaito's under a lot of pressure, they go down to Storm. They had the Booyah as well. The Tri-Strikes come through for Decay, don't really accomplish much. Junkie goes down. Johan is up here on the defensive, trying to rain down Mist. They do have the Ink Storm as well. They are trying to put something out here, but there's only so much they can do, especially with 2 frontliners in front of the Rainmaker. Kaito trying to push up, and that's going to be Nightmare taking lead! There's still a minute left, though, so Decay could pull something off, but they need something huge. But that's just Junkie left alive!
Junkie is going to get the pick on Pelu. However, a push to 11 is going to be something that Decay is going to be very hard-pressed to get with only 45 seconds left. With Storm still here, Storm getting picks left and right. The Rainmaker is still active. They're going to desperately jump it back into mid, but they're 3 down. It's only Q2 on the field. Storm is still there. Storm gets picked off. They only have 30 seconds to get back into mid to stop Nightmare's push, because they are still pushing. They are still going and still trying to just keep Decay completely suppressed. They have 20 seconds left to stop that and start something of their own. It is looking extremely difficult for them out here.
Yeah, pardon the unavoidable pun, but things are looking absolutely nightmarish right now in their spawn. The mid is completely blue, the Crabs are in their spawn, Pelu grabs Rainmaker and takes it all the way back, and that is going to be Nightmare securing the win of Squid Junction 42 3-0 in Grand Finals.
Nightmare once again proving that they are the big dog of Squid Junction right now, getting the win. I think a lot of people expected that, especially after, you know, they did take it home in the first set. Upsets are certainly possible, but Nightmare just did do so well both times. But Decay, even though they didn't win, it's certainly nothing to sneeze at with their performance.
Absolutely. Again, relatively new team, and if them getting second in this tournament is any indication, we are definitely going to be seeing great things from this team moving forward. So definitely keep an eye out on these players. Because, like, Octobrush, again, it's not something you see super often at, like, kind of the higher end of mid-level here, but they're making it work. And same with, like, C-Jet. That's not really a weapon you see at this level either. So if you have a player who can make that work at this level, that's got to be pretty promising. So definitely keep an eye out on these guys. But still, hats off to Nightmare for winning. They definitely proved that they are worth their salt in being hyped up as kind of one of the hottest new teams in NA right now.
I mean, the one tricks, like, not a lot of people, like, in this meta are used to fighting Octobrush. Wiper, of course, people are used to fighting, but it's just, if you can have something like that works, that people aren't used to fighting all that often, that still has a lot of strengths and advantages in its own right, but isn't necessarily probably the best pick, it can still go very far. You can push a weapon to its absolute limits and do so well. And I think that's where a lot of Decay's strength is coming from. You know, Moxie, Junkie, the Brush player, absolutely insane, absolutely cracked. So is everyone else on that team. Definitely deserving of their second place title here tonight, but that is going to be kind of taking a wrap to things.
Yes, that will be all for the tournament. So definitely shout out to all the TOs and the casters who helped us bring this tournament to you, as well as the previous commentators, and the current ones, of course. So, Weef, where can the people find you?
You can find me on both Twitter and Twitch at WeefSlider. I post mediocre takes all the time. If there's more where that came from, folks. Riley, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at BuffSplashdown. I tweet once every 10 years, and I'm funny once every 100 years. That's pretty much all I do nowadays.
God bless. Well, like Riley said, that is gonna be it for tonight. Thank you all for sticking it to the very end and watching. We watched Decay for so long. I feel like we saw them like 4 or 5 times this tournament. Fun times, but thank you all for watching.
Thank you, and have a great evening.